Jason at Black Kross, owner, tattooer, general, nice guy. I figured today we'd talk about tattoo styles. There's 87 trillion different kind of tattoo styles out there, and there's probably one for everybody. It's traditional, usually defined by big, chubby, fat-ass, clean, bold lines, high contrast, bright colors, heavy black shading. You know, the kind of tattoo that you can see from, 3-4 meters away. Easily readable, so you don't have to get up on it and do a whole lot of brain work on figuring out what it is. And, it's just a nice, clean, classic traditional design. Super popular these days, but they've also been popular for 100 years because they've been around 100 years. They've stood the test of time because they're dope. That's why. You can find somebody's grandpa with, an old heart and anchor and still tell what that shit is. There's Japanese traditional, probably one of the oldest kind of tattoos there is, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years old. Kind of defined by also heavy, bold outlines, bright, saturated colors. With the traditional Japanese tattoo, again, you can read it from halfway across the room. It makes sense. They're just very clean. Polynesian tattooing to thank as kind of the backbone for modern tattooing. That's definitely where traditional tattoos came from. Sailors cruising over to Asia and India and parts of stuff like that, and adopting those lines and colors and kind of turning it into their own thing. DOTWORK, pointillism, stippling. That's another kind of form of tattooing which is hella popular today. Can be done with a machine, can be done hand poked, can be done with a rotary, a coil, whatever. There's people doing amazing shit with that stuff. That's definitely a style. Like I said, super popular. Not everybody can pull it off, so do your homework, kids. Find a guy that can slay it, because there's not really a fine line between good and bad at that stuff. Realism, that's kind of a fairly newish thing. Maybe 50, 70 years old, something like that. Maybe with the advent of stencils and just tattooers having, more art skills, fine arts background, stuff like that. Because back in the day, not a whole lot of fine art college students or college graduates doing tattoos. There's even like hyper-realism, like Nico Hurtado and some of these color wizards out there just doing shit that looks, better than real life. There was a cool documentary or movie called, I think it was called Tattoo Nation, and it was all about where black and gray tattoos came from, because they're not really that old. The answer to that is prison, mainly prisons in California. Making homemade rotary machines out of tape motors and guitar strings, and you put somebody in a box for 15, 20 years, they're gonna figure out all kind of cool, crazy ways to make a tattoo. A lot of it is actually amazing work. A lot of it janky as fuck. That's basically where black and gray tattooing came from. Watering down different colors of black, and it depends on where you get your black from. In prison, it was, not that I've ever been there, but I heard, you take like a chess piece or a piece of plastic or something, burn that shit with a lighter, and the soot that accumulates can be mixed with water or shampoo or whatever liquid you got laying around there, and it makes for some really black stuff. Watercolor, if it's done right, it's pretty cool, man. Again, not everybody can do these, so if you're gonna get one of these, definitely do your homework, because there's people out there killing it. Definitely looks like watercolor on your skin. And if it's done right, yeah, man, it looks hella cool. Not done right, it looks like you just fell into a bunch of magic markers, and people will probably laugh at you. The new school that's happening now is way better than the stuff that was happening in the 90s, because it was new school then. People were pushing boundaries and trying out new techniques and stuff. New school tattoos now are fucking amazing. Heavy, chubby outlines, which outlines are awesome. Mixing techniques in there, white highlights and soft shading and stuff. New school tattoos are pretty cool if they're done right. But like with any style of tattooing, do your homework, man. Find the guy that does that shit and get a tattoo from him, because there's nothing worse than say you go to a traditional artist and ask for a portrait. Maybe it's not going to turn out that awesome. Not everybody does everything well. Neo-traditional is a newer thing. Definitely has its roots in traditional tattooing. Lots of chubby, fat-ass lines. Kind of like with new school, it's a mixture, but it's got its basis and its roots in traditional tattooing. You know, somewhat limited color palette, often traditional images, skulls, roses, daggers, that kind of thing, but with more of like a little fine line twist, you know, not for everybody, but they are still badass nonetheless. Blackwork, heavy black. Oftentimes there's no shading in it. It's just very flat and graphic-y, kind of prison-y, super black and clean. Yeah, there's a style called brutal black, I think that's what it's called. You basically get strapped to a table and 3 or 4 artists basically just attack you. And if I'm not mistaken, it's all about the pain you receive and how much pain you can take. Yeah, and you come out looking like you got in a magic marker fight with a Sharpie. Just random, like in your gums, all kind of in your ear, just weird. But again, not my cup of tea, but somebody out there likes it, and cool, man, good for you guys. That's awesome. Brutal is right. It's brutal as fuck. Black and gray portraits, that's definitely a thing. Definitely need to do your homework on that one. Not everybody can pull off a portrait. You want one, you definitely need good reference for it. You know, don't bring in a Polaroid where the head is this big. The cleaner the picture, the better portrait you're gonna get. And definitely go to the right artist for that. Do your homework. You know, if you want your portrait of your kid to look like your kid and not the neighbor's kid, do your fucking homework, man. There's a trillion different styles out there, and if I left your style out that you specialize in, sorry, bro. But I think these days, tattooing is getting so, I don't know, smushed that a lot of styles are crossing over and getting combined, and at the end of the day, man, just get good tats, man. Do your homework, find the correct artist for the right style and the right imagery that you want, and get that shit. Good luck.